I guess I'm counting up. That's probably not the way to do this, but we all know how Duck Labs is. Welcome in, everyone. Happy Thursday. Happy Thirsty Thursday. Happy Thursday that feels like a Tuesday because we were all off on the real Tuesday, but tomorrow's Friday. So it's like Thursday, Tuesday, Friday Eve. I'm not 100% sure, but welcome in. Happy Thursday. It is officially the return of the DisFluencers podcast. Everyone clap. Go ahead. Thank you. Finished? All right, cool. Excited. Look, it's been a hot minute. It's been actually pre-COVID since this whole thing went away. And I went back and listened to a couple episodes, and my God, I apparently didn't know how to deal with audio back then. Not really. It was okay, but some pops and cracks. Any rate, look, it's back. So look, if you're new around here, and I know some of you are, but if you're new to this, the DisFluencers podcast was actually the brainchild of Brandy and I, and we would have on other influencers in the Disney community, but across like all social media platforms. So it wasn't just, hey, YouTube, podcasting, Instagram, TikTok. I don't think TikTok was huge back then. It's crazy to say. Wasn't as big as it is now, that's for sure. But we would have a bunch of folks on to talk about not just Disney, but why they create and why they create specifically around Disney as a topic, right? So look, we enjoy it. We've always enjoyed it. We know we love Disney. So I figured we'd bring it back, right? And we're going to extend outside of the YouTube world. And we're going to have 119 seconds ago I started. YouTube, why are we getting that specific? Anywho. We have gone into the world of podcasting, the OG form of how we would get information from Disney on this whole fun thing called social media. If you remember back in the day of the early aughts, maybe, for sure, early teens, of getting all of your Disney news, we all got it from podcasts. So, as much as it has been not cool and is now cool again, we are delving into the world of Disney podcasting. And first tonight, our guest from Just Some Magic Podcast, the Just Some Magic Podcast, Just Some Magic Podcast on Instagram and also on YouTube. Here is that link I shall post now. Shall welcome in Morgan Stark of the Just Some Magic Podcast.
Hello.
Morgan, hello. Happy, what's today?
Thursday.
I said that a lot, didn't 6th.
I? Yes. With the holidays, it's been all over the place. So
it's crazy.
It's a valid time. It's a good to excuse it, essentially.
Yes. Did you have a good 4th?
I did. I spent it with a dear friend who actually she visited me out when I lived in California, and the first time I ever went to get my Harry Potter wand or went to Ollivander's, she got chosen, and she is the biggest Harry Potter fan I know.
Nice.
So we hung out on 4th of July.
That's fantastic. Now, here's the real question. Local 4th of July fireworks, meh, right?
Oh my gosh. My parents asked me if I watched any fireworks because I had plans with my own friends, and I was like, when you're so used to the high caliber of Disney, it's cute to see the neighborhood fireworks shows, you know?
So the fireworks display that we usually see on 4th of July locally is actually pretty okay. especially for Central PA, not being in a major city, they do a pretty okay job. There have been times in the past though where I have literally not listened to what they say to listen to. You know how they put it out on the radio and all that fun stuff.
Yes.
So they wouldn't listen to that. I'd play Wishes in my AirPods. And it never lined up, and it wasn't great, but but for times when you weren't at Disney, it was at least something. And it at least pepped it up a bit. But there was like a boatload of memes where it's like July 4th, where everyone in the country says, "Ooh, fireworks," and everyone who's been to Disney goes, "Eh."
Yeah.
And it's about
when
true.
You choreograph fireworks to beautiful storytelling and music, it is the bar is set really high and you're almost ruined for all other fireworks. So if you don't want to see or don't want your local fireworks to be ruined, don't go to stay at a Disney park and watch the nighttime fireworks. Well, they're wonderful.
and don't get nerdy about it like we are, because then it's like, ooh, I'm watching, Happily Ever After Friday nights on Resort TV 1 all the time, or, whatever, Steve's World, all things fun.
Hey, no shame in that. Absolutely no shame in that.
Not at all. So Morgan, thank you for coming on. Appreciate you joining us.
Thank you for having
me. For everyone out there, Morgan and I did an episode on her show, which will be coming out in a couple weeks, I believe.
Yes.
If you don't know the date, it's all good. But that will be coming out at some point. But it just happened to work out that you were free and we were starting this week. So, look, Morgan, welcome in. Thank you for being guest 1 of season 4 of the DisFluencers podcast.
Ooh, season 4. How exciting. Oh my gosh.
I actually went back and listened to some of it, like I was saying. And like season 2 was only 4 episodes long.
Oh, so okay. Well, hopefully season 4 will be bigger. The crowd and the your fans will want more, so it'll just keep coming.
100%.
Well, thank you again for having me, and we had such a fun time recording your episode of your most magical moment. And those that don't know, my podcast is literally dedicated to sharing people's most magical moments. And that's all we talk about. So if you need a feel-good podcast or just want to tie over for your next Disney vacation, just need a little pick-me-up, definitely go listen to it. But Dave's is a really, really good one and a unique experience that not everybody gets to do. So stay tuned for that.
That's also super fair. But for real, leading up to your podcast, so I knew what I was getting into. I listened to several episodes, and you're right. It is like the super feel good side of Disney, but not always, because there have been stories where it's how to figure this out. But
yes,
but it's a very interesting angle on an ability to talk about a topic that we're all extremely fond of, obviously, because that's what we create around. But you're focusing more on all the positivity that can come out of it. And it's fantastic. And it's a different angle. Like, obviously, you can listen to a lot of podcasts, and there's the news and notes segment. There's the Blue Sky segment. There's the
trivia.
We're going to talk about moderate resorts, right? And all of that stuff is super fair and super legit, and 100% you can look at it from your own angle, right? So not knocking it at all, but you come at this from a very very specific angle, where you're trying to put the focus on your guest and how they have always interacted. So how did you come up with this idea?
Oh my goodness. So well, I don't, do we want to, before I jump into the podcast, do we want to start about the influencer side first?
Sure. Yeah, go
because
for it.
That kind of started in a really fun way. And then I'll definitely go back to the podcast
yeah, go for
side. It. So I always loved Disney. The first time I ever went was 18 months old, which you probably think, most people think that, that's too young and whatnot. But actually, my great aunt, so my grandma's sister, was a character performer at Disney World. She beat out all of the college students, and she got to be friends with Brer Bear, Brer Bear, some of the country bears. Eeyore and Tigger were her favorite. Eeyore especially. She loved moping around for as excited of a person as she was.
Yeah, that's
so
awesome.
we got free tickets. So, we go to visit Chuchi Carol, who's my great aunt. And naturally, got to go visit her at work. Mind you, I don't know that we're visiting her at work. um,
That's
but
awesome.
so we do that. My love just kind of stayed pretty consistent growing up on the East Coast. We went to Disney World multiple times throughout my childhood. I was very fortunate for that. And then once I got to college, I had a friend of mine do the Disney college program. And I was like, what is this? I want to try this. And I was very fortunate enough to get accepted and work there at World of Disney, which is the biggest Disney store in the world, still is to this day. It's absolutely bonkers. And it was crazy to work there, but in like the best and worst ways. So got into that. Fast forward a couple years, graduate, move out to California. I am 20 minutes away from Disneyland, and I am ecstatic. It is my first time living there and or going to Disneyland. And I remember walking down Main Street and like getting emotional because all of us Disney fans get emotional at Disney Park. Like Dave, you
Sure.
probably get a little emotional after some time
100,
going without Disney.
100%. I get
Yeah.
emotional walking down Main Street every time.
I can see you being the kind of guy of like, I'm not crying, you're crying. Like,
I will gladly cry, and
okay, good.
I don't. Yeah, no, it's all good. It's completely different when you have kids walking down the street in front of you, and
Oh,
I mean that's the real thing, right?
mm-hmm.
We can get into that, but continue. But
Yes.
yeah, it's
So I
always
remember,
magical.
yeah, I remember walking down Main Street for Disneyland for the first time, and I'm looking around, and then I go, is that the castle? It's so because I'm so used to Disney
Right?
World's
Yeah,
castle.
100%.
It
Yeah.
was a very big jump, but Sleeping Beauty is my favorite princess. So I grew to love her castle, and I love that you can go into it whenever you want. You don't need an expensive dining reservation, etc. But I had my friends there that weren't necessarily Disney people, and they were like honestly making fun of me for posting Disney all the time. And it was something I loved. And so I made a separate Disney Instagram account for all my Disney adventures. I was going weekly,
Mhm.
in between working and whatnot. And I loved it. And then I actually made more friends via the app and just going so frequently. And then people started to like my stuff. They liked what I posted. They liked my interactions. And I think one of the best messages or types of messages I ever got was, thank you so much for posting today. I was at work or I had a bad day and it made me feel like I was there. And that just was like the little spark under my butt to keep going. It was never to gain followers or anything like
Right.
that. It was honestly just making more friends and connecting with more people.
Mhm.
And so that was really good. And so that was my Disneyland side. I was out there for about 3 or 4 years. And then due to circumstances and of just very, very lucky, I got the job at the Diz Unplugged, who is a
Mhm.
very well-established podcast YouTube channel, and they're
Mhm.
wonderful. They're great people. And so I got to work with them for a year, and then COVID hit,
Right.
and that ruined everything for me. And so naturally the parks were closed. I, got let go because, we couldn't be reporting on anything.
Right.
And so we all left very peacefully. Everybody thinks that there was drama.
Right.
The world was exploding,
Th-
essentially.
there was a lot of drama, but it had nothing to do with
Yes,
that. Right.
exactly. Exactly. And so, you know, it wasn't FOMO of like fear of missing out. It actually turned into like none of us can go to the parks.
Right.
And that kinda does something to you as someone who would go multiple
Mhm.
times a week because, I was there reporting, I was there getting content for
Right.
the podcast and the YouTube channel and doing food reviews and all of
Now,
this.
this is still at land, right?
This actually I started, with the Dis Unplugged. I met them at land. I was their, main Disneyland person that, like, if we need a picture of something, I was the one to go, and I
Got
was
it.
very, very fortunate. Again, it was a dream job.
Right.
I got to be a part of the first media event to announce the initial Oogie Boogie Bash in 2019,
That's
and
awesome.
so that and I remember you telling me, Dave, that you've been to Oogie Boogie Bash, right? Y
Yes, I have.
and
It was great.
it's incredible, and it
Mhm.
only gets better. I haven't been back since, but it only gets better.
Right.
And then before COVID, I moved out to Florida to work with the team directly because that's where majority of their team is based in.
Mhm.
And then, like I said, COVID hit. So I got some taste of Disney World before everything exploded. So
Right.
yeah.
Yeah, it's
Um,
always it that threw a wrench in a lot of creators' plans when it came to on-site.
Absolutely,
Yes.
absolutely. And you being in Pennsylvania, you'd always have to, have something to look forward to. But when there's
Mhm.
the inevitable of like not knowing when we can go back, if it's going to be 2 weeks, if it's going to be 6 months, 2 years, like that was not a fun feeling.
It
It was
it it wasn't at all,
slightly depressing, honestly.
right? Corby remembers you.
Oh my goodness, thank you. I do shout out anybody who ever watched the Disneyland show. I was on the show, and anybody that stopped me that watched me on the Disneyland show, I'm like, because obviously their Disney World show is the bigger show.
Right.
So I was very honored when anybody recognized me or my voice. So thank you
Right.
so much. That means a lot to me.
Love it, right?
Um, so back into the depressing parks are closed mood.
Obviously. Yes.
Naturally. I was thinking, I want to do something. Maybe I should start a small shop. No, everybody starts a small shop, and there's already a really great creators out there. Maybe I should start a vlog channel. Well, the parks aren't open, so I can't do that.
Mhm.
And I'm thinking, oh, I could start a podcast. But I'm like, everybody does a podcast. Like, how can I do something different? And I really sat with it for
Crazy.
quite
Mhm.
a while because, like you said, and I will say though, people that do news and reviews, I still listen to multiple people, even on the same news week, because everybody has different perspectives and different
Agreed.
opinions on
Yeah,
different things.
the opinion part is the part that's interesting. The news you can get by looking on Twitter or
Right.
Threads today.
Yeah. I downloaded it. I'm like,
Yeah,
well,
so did I.
everybody's doing it. Peer pressure.
Dude, it is so ridiculous. It's like it's a new app that we've never used before. I'm like, it's freaking Twitter,
Yeah.
but it's the page. Like, what the? Anywho,
Oh, I love it.
back at it. You started with the podcast.
Yes.
Oh.
And okay, so I'm like, I'm podcast, what can I do differently? And then it just hit me like we all want to go to the parks. And so I just started interviewing people and my friends and people that my mom actually connected me with. A very, very cool. Oh, hi, Jean. There's
Hey,
one of
Gene.
my co-hosts
Yeah,
on the Disney Underground Tuesday nights. Check us out.
8 p.m.
Um,
Eastern Standard
but
Time, the only correct time zone.
yes,
Sorry.
my mom introduced me to somebody who her father was the original voice of Popeye the Sailor Man before he asked for too money, but he was in
That's crazy.
a handful of Disney movies, not as the main characters, but as side characters, one being one of the main Maleficent's goons in Sleeping Beauty,
Hmm.
the cradles, like that deep raspy
Yeah,
voice. He was the Indian chief in Peter Pan. He was, a couple of other, like, smaller
really.
characters. Yes,
That's
so
crazy.
it was so cool, and, like, her perspective as a Disney kid, like, a true Disney kid, growing up and going to the work Christmas parties and all of that stuff, something that we could never imagine because we were not around during Walt Disney's time. We all think, like,
Right.
"Oh, what would Walt think?" Like, she is the closest, so that was so cool to interview her. Um but it was so nice to connect with people and chat with them again. And having this evergreen podcast where you could start at the most recent episode, you could start at episode 1, and there's always something to listen to. And I just want to share people's stories. So when you don't have to be a big influencer or a successful YouTuber or be around like Dave you have to be on the show. I think I target anybody that has a good, meaningful story. And I I just love being the person to help facilitate that and help
Right.
get instead of just posting it on your Facebook for maybe 5 friends that are actually good Disney fans, where
Hmm.
more fans can appreciate and enjoy it and kinda tie you over till your next Disney trip, so
Well, that's the cool part, and you do a great job of pulling those stories out.
thank you.
It's really interesting because we were talking about it before ours, and I'm like, look, I got like 5 of them, that I could just rattle off like this, right?
Right,
Like
right.
real quick, like here's the synopsis. We're good to go. But you're like, no, pick one, maybe two,
Yeah.
and then we'll just talk through it. You did a great job.
Thank you. I'm like, let's
Doing that.
marinate in the story. Like,
Yeah.
let's just
Yeah.
be here a while. Let's paint the picture.
100%. And that's it's a really interesting take. You know, you said don't just post it for like 5 Facebook friends to see. The other half of that is don't just post it in a Disney Facebook group for everyone to tear down. So
right.
Right.
Or just get lost because a bunch of
Yeah.
people are posting it
Mhm.
and whatnot. And
Gary, what's up, dude? Yeah, you're exactly right. It's a really good take. And you are on episode what now?
This upcoming Monday will be 110.
110. So,
and I'm a
for those
one-woman
counting-
show, by the way.
yeah. For those counting, it's 2 years. 2 years weekly. That is solid.
Thank you.
So,
I really do
yes.
appreciate your support, Dave. And I know we just met recently, but you were always so kind to me and so supportive. And I love that you reached out. And again, you guys, I can't wait for you guys to hear Dave's story. It is so good. So good.
It's a good one.
Mhm.
For sure. Yeah, so podcasting is a medium. You decided to go into
Mhm.
that. Now,
Mhm.
when you went into it on your own, was it something you kind of you kind of moved toward because of your time with the Diz? Like you had that kind of background for podcasting as opposed to something else. I mean, did you look to dabble in live streaming, which you're doing now, as opposed to whatever? So was that really the influence there? Because it was really interesting when you said everyone started a podcast, which kind of happened mid 2020, not
Yes.
necessarily. Well, wait, hold on. Sorry, early 2021, as opposed to right post pandemic or right at the beginning of the pandemic. So, any rate, go for it.
Yeah, that's a great question. I definitely, my experience with the Diz gave me the confidence to be comfortable because I've done live shows with them. I have done recorded shows with them. I've done recorded content where we do a food review. Mind you, I was the number one editing. Craig and Rhino are the executive producers. Shout them out.
Right.
They're wonderful humans and they do such a good job. But it definitely gave me the confidence to be comfortable in my own skin and also comfortable in my own opinions too. On my show, we're very positive, but we don't all have to like everything. I know Dave and I don't know, I think we recorded this too. But I love Disneyland so much more than Disney World, which I never thought I would have said before I moved out to California. And you very much love Disney World.
Oh,
and
pretty sure I said on a recording that I'm not going back.
Yes, and I was like,
want to go. Yeah.
but also too, when people have conflicting opinions, I want to know why. Like, what really? And then you explained it to me, and I'm like, that makes sense. Why? Especially you being in Pennsylvania, and it's the same amount of money, if not more, to go to Disneyland versus Disney World. And you even mentioned Disneyland Paris. So, at that point, it makes sense just to go to Disney World. Absolutely.
It definitely does. So Corby wants to know what your favorite story was out of the 110 that have been out there.
Oh my goodness.
This may take a while, so just think about it. But it's a good one. It's a good question, Corby.
Can I give 2 answers?
Yeah, of course you can.
Okay. So in earlier years when I was trouble getting the podcast going and finding guests and stuff, I did do some of my own stories, like Run Disney Princess Weekend, which was 2 weeks before COVID happened. I like finished the race and everything, and then COVID, and I'm like, oh, no more Run Disney the rest of the year. Darn, I just got hooked. Right. And you're doing a Run Disney soon too, so I'm very excited for you, Dave.
We don't know, allegedly, and it's not till next year. So we're thinking about it though. So
you got it. I believe in you. If I could do it, you can do it.
Hey, I got 2 in this morning, so we're good.
Hey, there you go. That's
5K tomorrow morning. If you want to join me, anyone, we can do it virtually.
There you go. There you go. You can all struggle together on FaceTime.
Exactly. Crazy.
But going back to your original question, or Colby?
Yeah.
Corey?
Yep. Corby.
question. Corby. I'm like, I don't want to say it wrong.
You're good.
I so I do put some of my episodes out, but I think my favorite one that I have done is my episode 1. It is with my very dear best friend Sarah, who just we did Disney College program together. She actually just had a baby a week ago, or a week and a
Nice.
half ago, which is
Wow.
so exciting. I'm so
Congrats to
happy
her.
for her. Absolutely. And so we recorded an episode and we were working there in 2013. I'll give you guys a little synopsis because I don't want to spoil it too much.
Yeah, you're good.
But that was the year that Frozen came out, and we were both doing the college program. As you can already tell, I'm very much like Anna and very outgoing, whereas she's more reserved and very much the Elsa to my Anna. Before the movie even came out, we already decided that. And fast forward years later, she thinks I'm in Hawaii at the point, because I was in Hawaii on a business trip, which I was very, very, very cool business trip.
That's a tough business trip to go on.
It was so I mean,
Allegedly.
honestly, we did hike like 10 miles, 12 miles every day, and after 10 day in a row, I'm like, okay, I'm tired. I just want to stay at the hotel.
That's great.
But anyway, so she thinks I'm not getting in till 8 p.m. I actually got in at 8 a.m. and her family were going to Disneyland. And again, this is when I was in California. Anna and Elsa are our favorite. So you can only imagine what happened. I was able to contact her then fiance, now husband, father of her child. And we arranged something and I was able to surprise her. So
that's fantastic.
Yes, and it's not just me sharing the story. It's not just Sarah sharing the story. It's both of us.
That's tough to say. Say it again.
It's just Sarah sharing the story.
There you go. Good.
Yes, and so it's both of our perspectives of what's going on, like behind the scenes, what I'm thinking and doing with the cast members versus like she's like, why are we in the line for Anna and Elsa? And then she goes to her sister like, you haven't even seen this movie. Why are we here? Like,
wow.
So it's a good first episode. And like I said, you could start at episode 1. You can go to episode 110 on Monday and go backwards. It really doesn't matter.
Yep,
So.
100%. It is definitely, as you said, evergreen.
Mm-hmm.
So everyone loves a good Disney story.
Absolutely.
For sure.
Oh, and my favorite of another guest. Oh my gosh, there's been so many wonderful guests. And honestly, I think it's the her name is Flora, who her father was the original voice of Popeye. And I kind of always keep going back because that was just such a magical moment for me, just interviewing her and just picking her brain about all of that. And another okay, one last favorite.
Yeah, it's fine.
It's like children. It's like all my children.
Yeah, these are all like just go find these episodes and listen to them. Like you're giving a very good synopsis of what you got going. So, third one, last one, because I got another question. Continue.
Okay, absolutely. And I love these questions, you guys. Please hit me with the tough ones. I love doing tough questions on my show. I hit Dave with a really good one the other day.
It was.
But my most recent one, it's a lady who is in her 40s. She has 3 children, but she was not only just a Disney princess, a former Disney princess, but she actually sang live as Belle, Aurora, and Meg on the Disney cruise ship back in the early 2000s.
Crazy.
Yes. So her episode was so wonderful. I had to make it 2 parts, and her talking about how she almost died because of the structure of the moving platform she was on with her and Philip didn't hit a stage right, or the wig that Meg wears. Anytime she said she was backstage, she would just have her head between her legs, just not using those muscles because that Meg hair is just a whole beast in itself. So if you guys like behind the scenes stuff, that is definitely a good episode. I believe it's episode 25 and 26.
That's awesome.
That's another favorite as well.
That's fantastic. All right, here's the next question. If you could have anyone on to tell a story, who would it be?
Oh my gosh. Okay. Again, I'm gonna have 2 because I've thought about this for a really, really long time. Oh my gosh, thank you, Kenneth, for posting that exact link. I really do appreciate it.
He's on it.
I got the numbers right. Good. There's a lot of episodes.
Yeah.
But my first one I'll say, and speaking of Meg, is Susan Egan, who is the voice of Meg.
Mm-hmm.
I have heard her on other podcasts, and
Right.
she just sounds like a wonderful human I want to spend a lot of time with. And
Right.
yeah, she's so funny and quirky, and she's got that sass too, like Meg has. And
Hmm.
I I think she was the original Broadway voice of Belle, or the original
Right.
actress who does Belle. And so she's got both of those Disney like legendary characters under her belt, which I think is really cool.
That's awesome.
And I
It
think she'd be wonderful to interview.
isn't it crazy how and you wonder if it's the personality bringing to the character or the character sculpting your personality after. But like Jodie Benson's the same way.
Oh,
How
yes.
they're very similar to the character. So I'm sure it's a little bit of both, right? Like what
Yes.
when you are pegged, and I don't mean that in a negative way, when you're pinned or pegged as always Ariel for
Mhm.
25 years,
Yes.
or always Meg for what, 20 years? That movie's that old, isn't it?
Right. Or, Robert Downey Jr. as Tony Stark.
Oh,
He
of
is
course.
Tony Stark.
Yeah, you could look. NPH got lucky that he was no longer Doogie, and then he was Barney, right? Like it's.
Yes.
But even in Him Yim, there were throwbacks to him being Doogie multiple times.
Oh, okay. I had not seen
Well, there was one. There was
Doogie
one where
Howser, but that is so cool. I have seen How
there
I Met Your Mother. Love him in How I Met Your Mother. Love seeing
totally.
him at the Christmas candlelight thing.
You're
But
you're
sorry, didn't mean to interrupt.
you're fine. I'm just like, ugh. Doogie Howser was like my idol growing up because I was like 9, 10 when he was on, and he was the teenage doctor, and I wanted to be a doctor.
Yes. Wait, I thought you wanted to be a marine biologist.
I
What?
did. I wanted to
So
be all of it.
when you in your spare
Whatever.
time, you'd be a doctor as well. Got
I
it. Got it.
probably wanted to be both. I actually remember writing a book when I was in like 6th grade that I
Mhm.
wanted to be a marine biologist and discover a new fish. I wanted to be a doctor, and I wanted to be an astronaut and discover a new planet. So,
Got a lot of work to do, sir.
listen, I'm 0 for 3 right now. I got a lot to do in the next 40 years of my life. I got 2,000 weeks left. Let's rock and roll. We got to get down to it.
Oh my gosh. So we're gonna cut the show early, guys.
Yeah.
We got a lot of work
Yeah,
to do.
we got Chat GPT. I can write anything at this point. It's not a big deal.
Honestly. Um, and then the second guest, my dream guest, and this is not the reason why you would think I would want this guest on. This person is a superhero. It's not Robert Downey Jr., but he is such a Disney fan, low key, and I heard he goes to Walt Disney World all the time.
Mm-hmm.
I would love to interview Chris Evans.
Yeah, Evans would be great, actually.
Yes.
Evans would be fantastic.
And again, nice person too. He seems like a great person.
100%. Other one's Chris Pratt.
Ooh, he would be good too. He'd be very good.
I mean, if we're talking, so
And
if we're talking like
Chris Hemsworth as well. I love Thor. Love Thor.
Dude, it'd be bad. I'd be like, push-up challenge. Let's rock and roll. Let's go. It'd be bad. It'd be super bad.
But in the reason why I picked Chris Evans over all the other amazing Chris's, I think he is the biggest Disney fan. Whereas I don't know Chris Pratt as well as if he's as big of a Disney fan as Chris Evans portrays himself to be.
My 100%.
Gene said all the Chris's. Yes.
So it's 100% all the Chris's. There's actually someone in the community that was a CM that ran into Evans on an elevator and didn't say. He just kind of like nodded, and like they both knew and everything was fine. And yeah, so that's a fun story.
Oh my gosh, I need them on.
Pretty sure it might be on an old podcast. I have to go back and check. I don't want to throw it out there. Yeah. But yeah, no. So like I go through the same thing, right? And for those that I think that it could actually happen in a reasonable amount of time, it's Len Testa of Touring Plans.
Yes, that is a legendary name.
Len's my guy. I love the fact that he nerded out so much about Disney and numbers and then put them both together and started a business out of it. Like that's it
It's
for me.
genius.
But yeah, but then it's like, pie in the sky, like probably Pratt over Evans, but
Okay,
only
fine. You can have Pratt. I'll have Evans.
if
We won't have
each
to
one's
fight over
gonna
them.
if each one's gonna do one show, then I think that's the way it needs to be split. But like I'm a huge Jack Carr fan, so Pratt in Terminal List, and I'm a huge Jurassic fan going back to the OG one. So Pratt in Jurassic World,
yes,
that's where I'm at. And I mean, Guardians isn't really. I mean, that and like Zero Dark 30, like Pratt did a fantastic job, and all of it. He's just a genuine dude too.
Yes, he seems so nice. And now that you reminded me of that, Chris Pratt, like is in Jurassic World and he's on the Velocicoaster pre-show. And he's also now in the Guardians roller coaster pre-show and Guardians Mission Breakout. Also, I don't know the actor's name, but he is a Weasley brother and he is in the Universal Gringotts bank roller coaster ride. I don't really count it as a coaster, but it's fun. Very fun. And he's also in Rise of the Resistance. Like, I don't ever want to get
Who's
famous,
he in Rise of the Resistance? Oh, he's what's his face? Yeah.
Yes, the redhead that like pushes in. He's like, by the order of the First Order, whatever. He says.
I was gonna say there's not many crossovers, right?
Right.
On rides specifically.
On rides. And I'm like, I don't want to be famous. I just want to be like famous enough to have a pre-show in both competing parks. Like,
Dude,
I don't
crazy.
I don't know what I do or what, but I just that's the level of status I would ever, that'd be my peak. I'd be like, I'm good. I don't need anything else in life.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's all the Chris's. If we're gonna talk Ryans, then it's Ryan Reynolds. So he's every guy's man crush ever.
He is. Deadpool.
I've never watched Deadpool. I know. I own it. I have it on Amazon. I've started it like 15 times, but I'm always like 4 seconds from falling asleep when I do. And then there's always something else that just came out that I'd rather watch instead of Deadpool. So what I need to do is download it onto my phone, and when I'm at my camp, like I'm like, all right, watching Deadpool.
It's so good. It's so good.
Yeah,
I think you'll enjoy it. I feel like it'd be very much your humor.
It's 100% of my alley. Like there's no reason why I haven't watched Deadpool. I know, Kenneth. I get it. I know I need to watch it. It's on the list. But like the Ryan Reynolds, I remember, goes back to Van Wilder, which is one of the most underrated movies ever. Until you talk to someone, they're like, "Oh yeah, I love that movie." It's like, okay.
Why didn't you bring it up then?
Exactly. It's kind of.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. No. So Deadpool's on that. So you are a Marvel fan, obviously.
Through and through.
Where did that come from? From the cinematic universe or pre?
Two guys and a girl in a pizza place.
100%. No, it's actually. Yeah, you're fine. You're fine. I've never watched Two Guys and a Girl in a Pizza Place.
Oh my goodness.
I know. Well, look, there was like that whole range where I was in college and didn't really care about what was on, standard television, because if it was on Friday night, I wasn't in my dorm room.
As you should be. You should not be there unless you're partying or working off a hangover.
Probably partying.
Oh my god. But what was your question?
Which is also why I'm not a doctor. So continue.
Or a marine biologist.
Yeah.
Or doing
Well, the marine biology thing, I actually did graduate with a biology degree.
Oh, perfect.
So I could have theoretically continued through that, but I almost pulled a Van Wilder, and it was 5.5 years, not 7. But yeah, it could have. I could have continued. I just didn't.
Hey, if it makes you feel any better, Disney College delayed me a semester, so technically I was 4.5, even though I wasn't in school for that semester. I was at Disney, but
so we got to get into DCP as well. But let's let's
Ooh,
talk Marvel first.
yes. Oh, that was a good that is a good story of how I became a fan. Um, so I was dating someone for quite a long time, and he was like, "Marvel's lame. We only like DC around here." And
He's
me not know
100% wrong.
exactly. Me not knowing any better. Mind you, this is early 2013. It's changed a lot since then.
Mhm.
But me not knowing any better, I was like, okay, I liked Harley Quinn. I liked Joker. I really liked Christian Bale as Batman. But then I moved to California.
Mhm.
And like I said, it was in my early Instagram stages. So, like 2016 going to 17, I made a friends with these group of girls who loved meeting the Marvel characters. And obviously, I just tag along. I love meeting characters in general. And I, um, I would tag along with them and I'd love asking questions. And I remember going to like Thor and Loki specifically right before Ragnarok came out. And I'd be like, Loki, are you a good guy or a bad guy? Because I genuinely didn't know. And then
Right.
his answer would turn around and he'd be like, "Oh, I'm neither here nor there." And I'm like, well, that doesn't answer my question. So
Right.
I had to go watch the movies. And it made me fall in love with these characters so much more and enjoy I had such good interactions with them in the parks that it just made me want to know their story more and have more conversations and enjoy everything about it. And so, like I said, it was right around Thor Ragnarok and it was right before Infinity War
Infinity
came
War,
out in
yeah.
2018.
Mhm.
And so I saw Black Panther in theaters, I saw Ragnarok in theaters, but my homework for myself was to watch all the movies in chronological order, starting with
Right.
Captain America: First Avenger and all the way through.
In
And
chronological order, not release order, correct?
correct, correct,
Got
because
it.
then Iron Man would technically be first.
100%.
But like you said, Captain America and my homework, my due date was before Infinity War. I always get them twisted up.
Yeah, you're good.
And I do all that work and I get all excited and then they all kaputs in the end of Infinity War. And I'm
Spoiler
like,
alert, by the way, but if you haven't watched
spoiler.
Infinity War yet,
You don't care.
it
You should
you
have known.
deserve a spoiler alert. You deserve
Sorry,
being spoiled, I guess, is the way to say it.
exactly, exactly. And we're way past that 2-week
Oh, yeah, yeah,
social
yeah,
media
for sure.
hiatus for a couple years.
100%.
Um, but again, I
You
just
remember
felt
that, don't spoil the end game. For 2 weeks, they're like, "Don't
2
post
weeks.
anything." 100%, yeah.
Exactly,
That was
exactly.
awesome.
And again, it just made me fall in love with these characters so much more. I did all that work, and then it just, that whole year of anticipating, waiting for Endgame to come out. And I just rewatched it about a week or two ago. I did a Marvel Light where you just watch the Avengers movies plus
Mhm.
Infinity War. I'm not Infinity War, Civil War, because
Right. Well, you have to.
that's not a Captain America movie.
It's not.
That's an Avengers movie.
Right.
Everybody's there. And I was like crying at the end. And then especially, and that's why my Instagram name is the way it is. I was originally Main Street Morgan, and I was the only one, had no underscores, nothing. I was
Right.
very proud of it. And then in Infinity War, they hinted that they were going to name their daughter Morgan, Tony Stark and
Right.
Pepper Potts. And I
Mhm.
was like, no way. No way.
Have
No
to.
one ever names their kid Morgan, especially a girl and especially like a good guy. It's always like someone's last name or a
Right.
bad guy's name. So I was freaking out. Endgame rolled around. I'm like, I'm changing my Instagram handle immediately as I leave the theater. Like, I have to, have to, have to. And then it just stuck, and people think it's my actual last name. And honestly, on a
It's
lot
even
of
better.
mail I get, it is.
Yeah. It's even better.
Yes,
So,
it's even better.
yeah.
I have watched Game of Thrones, so I do know that reference as well. I wouldn't mind being a Stark as well. But yeah, Game of Thrones is a whole nother beast in itself. But I love Marvel. Yes, there we go.
Of
I
course it
just hear
is.
the music.
Peter
Exact.
Dinklage, Peter Dinklage, Peter Dinklage, Peter
Yes.
Dinklage, Peter Dinklage, Peter Dinklage. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Love it.
Um, so I did all that and I was able to go in February of this year to go to Avengers Campus for the first time. My little Marvel heart was so happy. I was in love when I met Iron Man for the first time. I'm very good with characters. I was speechless. There's only been 2 times I've been speechless with a character, and it was
Right.
Iron Man and then Tarzan half naked. And I was like, I don't know what to say. I don't know
Sup,
what to
dude?
do. We both have Birkenstocks on. Like, why do we have matching shoes? Does that make me weird or him cool? I don't know.
Both?
Both?
I don't know. Maybe. I'm Ron Burgundy.
Yes.
Figure it out.
But
So
that's my Marvel love.
that's fantastic. So
Thank you.
so a couple things.
Yes.
How did you get good at talking to characters? Because I think that that's something that a lot of people leading up to it, they really don't think about the fact that they play as much into how their interaction goes and
Right.
not putting it all in the character. So what
Yes.
are your tips for how to
Oh,
increase or better your character interactions?
absolutely. I will say it. I do get starstruck every now and then. And, the character does, like you said, Dave, take the lead and ask you questions. And it's like, what have you done today? And you've been there for like 8 hours and the character asks
Nothing.
you that and you just draw a blank and you're like,
Yeah.
what? So I've definitely been there, done that. I love having a question in mind
Mhm.
while leading up to the character. Um, like Sleeping Beauty, I ask how the fairies are, or
Mhm.
you decided to wear pink today instead of blue, or if it's Pocahontas or a princess with like a small critter friend, I'm like, oh, where's Miko? How
Mhm.
is he today? And they have their stories and whatnot. You can ask very simple questions like that. During my Disney college program, another friend of mine, we had a princess day back before Anna and Elsa was like Anna and Elsa were non-existent, but we did a
Right.
princess day and we met all of the princesses in one day across the whole Disney World Resort, which would be extremely difficult now because there's so much more.
Tons. Yeah.
Yes, and we brought a prop for each one. So we asked Snow White, we're like, "Have you had an apple since the incident?" And she's and she's so delightful, and she goes, I forgot what apple she eats in the movie, but she said the opposite, like, "I only eat the red apples now." We're like,
Right.
"Good, good. Good,
As you
good, good."
should. Yeah.
But it's fun to be playful like that, and ask questions, and then also too, if you know their movie and you're passionate about their character, they will play into it, and being a local, and not to spoil too much of the magic, but I love when a character would recognize me or I would recognize them. And I know I could be a little more playful with them rather than just
Right.
chat for a minute, take a picture, move on to the next. I love it. Could be like, oh, how's your day? And at Disneyland too, they roam a lot. And so I love when a character chooses you to walk with as they're, walking backstage and they'll walk with you and hold
Right.
your hand. I've definitely done a perimeter check with Captain America and I was almost swooned. He's
Right.
like, put his arm out like a gentleman and I took his arm and I'm like, oh my gosh. Woo!
Chris, is that you?
Chris. Oh my goodness.
Chris? That's funny.
So I think my biggest piece of advice is definitely just have a question that relates to their story. I think they will enjoy it and they will love it. Um, and yeah, it can be so much fun. It can be so much fun. I remember my friend Sarah, again, who we sorry, I'm like getting out of breath here. I'm just
Oh,
so
you're fine.
excited about characters.
So
Um,
excited about Captain America.
I am. I'm still recovering. But my best friend Sarah, who we actually Disney bounded as Anna and Elsa one day.
Mhm.
And she just got engaged earlier that morning. I was a part of the surprise and I was filming
That's awesome.
videos and stuff. It was so fun. We meet Kristoff, which we were so excited to meet. And he goes, how's y'all's day been? And my friend Sarah goes, I actually got engaged. Kristoff goes, actually, was it to a man you just met? And we just go, oh yeah, we just met him in line on our entrance into the parks. And you can just totally, and we just ran
Yeah.
with it. And then he
Yeah.
looked over at her then now fiance and goes, your name's not Hans, is it? And he's like, no, no, no. It's my middle name. And you can have such fun
Yeah.
character interactions, especially as adults too. It does get a little awkward because you're like, I know you're
Yeah.
college age, young adult, but you can have so much more fun too. So
They if you are friends with a character,
yes.
they are there for a reason.
Mhm.
And the more you play into it, the more you actually make their day a little brighter and a little better because
Absolutely.
it's not the same thing
Mhm.
repeatedly. So, I
Mhm.
mean, obviously that has to be not a incredibly easy thing to do, especially face characters.
Yeah.
So like you said, if you're willing and able and have a little bit of forethought, you can definitely I think help brighten their day as much as they brighten yours.
Absolutely.
And
Absolutely.
if you go in thinking it that way, then it's completely different. I mean, it's different than right.
Right. Smile, autograph, pose, next. It doesn't
Exactly.
have to be the love and shove.
Yeah, exactly. Right.
Mhm.
That's funny. All right. So part 2 of that is so you said you crammed for Infinity War, right?
Yes. Oh.
So my Marvel story is similar because I
Ooh.
wasn't a huge I'm not a huge comic book guy, but
Oh, I have nothing to do with comic books. I'm right there with you.
right. So I have friends in the neighborhood who were huge comic book fans, comic book
Karma?
fans.
Karmic
And
comic book?
karma comic books. Yeah. So they would always be like, "Hey, you need to start watching the MCU." I'm like, "Cool. There's 5 films. I don't want to catch up." "Hey, you need to start watching. There's 13 films. It's too many. I don't want to catch up." And then it was like, "You need to start watching the films. There's 18. I don't want to catch up." So then somehow, some way, I don't know if it was on Showtime or what, but I watched Spider-Man Homecoming, first one.
That sounds right.
With
Yes.
Home,
Homecoming, Far From Home,
Homecoming,
and
Far
then
From
No Way
Home.
Home.
Yes.
All
So
homes.
I watched Homecoming and Iron Man was in it. And my thing is growing up, I was a Batman guy. I was a Superman. So I was a DC, right?
Mhm.
And I was Captain America's cool. I never understood Iron Man. Now, I wasn't a comic book guy again, but I never
Mhm.
understood him as a character.
Mhm.
So I saw him in that real quick. I'm like, this might be interesting. And then as Endgame came out and all of the Infinity War memes and, the snap and all that and whatever, right? Like
Mhm.
everything, I'm like, all right, I hate this.
You
I hate
broke me.
this. I don't know what's going on. I'm such a Star Wars nerd. It doesn't make any sense that I'm not a Marvel nerd. Like it just makes
Mhm.
zero sense.
Mhm.
So this all comes about the beginning of April, the year that Endgame comes out.
Whoa.
I watched 17 movies that people told me I had to watch. If I were going to cut things out, these are the ones that you can trim, but you have to make sure that you watch Iron Man, Iron Man 2. You could Thor, but you could skip it if you really want to.
Yeah, you gotta watch Ragnarok because that's just a fun
Well,
ride for
then
sure.
it was Ragnarok. Then it was all the later ones because that's where there were more characters coming in to even if it was just a single hero named film, right? Like Ragnarok
Mhm.
wasn't just Ragnarok, right? It wasn't just
Correct.
Thor. So
Mhm.
so I did all of that and I got it all done like 2 days before Endgame.
Ooh.
Not kidding. There's a YouTube video me talking about it. Like it was a lot. Like I remember sitting at camp on my little phone, like buying Doctor Strange because the night before I had already watched Civil War and I couldn't
Mhm.
handle it. I just couldn't handle it. I had to get to Infinity War to know what the hell is going on. So
Right.
I at one point I'm like, this I have to. I watched 3 films in a row from like 4 a.m. to 11:30 in the morning. Like I just
And
I was
and
sitting
those
there.
are not short movies.
No,
They're not like an
no.
hour and a half. They're like
Yeah,
2 to 3, like
100%. Like straight up like watched I want to say it was Civil War, which was depressing.
yes.
Doctor Strange, which was awesome, and then
Mhm.
Ragnarok. That would have made sense that order, correct?
I
Kind of
believe
going
so. I
back through
haven't
my
looked at
head.
it in
I'd
a
say
minute, but
yeah.
yes. People in the chat will correct us for sure.
Yeah, 100%. They will correct. I'm pretty sure. Um so I watched all 3 of those. Finally got to Infinity. Anyway, great, absolute um absolute fantastic. I'm excited that I did it. And I remember going and like we got there way too late and we ended up sitting down in the front and I'm watching Endgame like this.
Yeah.
But whew, it was a lot. So
Absolutely.
now the next question, right? So we are Marvel peers in that. What do you think about Phase 4 going into Phase 5?
That's a
Honest
loaded
opinion.
question.
It's not a loaded question because I think that there's more people that agree with what I'm assuming you're about to say.
Yes. I want to put on record that I loved Wanda back in Age of Ultron before everybody loved Wanda. So I'm a
That's
little
fair.
hipster about that. I will say I do love WandaVision. I know it's not everybody's cup of tea. How I thought it was a very unique way to tell a story via different eras of TV genre.
Yep.
But I feel like overall, and this doesn't count for everybody, I feel like it was about quantity versus quality, especially when it comes to Wanda before she was cool. Yes,
Exactly.
Kenneth.
Yeah, 100%.
Hipster about it.
Hipster.
Hipsters aren't even a thing anymore, I feel like.
Well, you're the hipster. You're bringing the hipsterness back.
Yes.
Allegedly. I don't know.
But I lost my train of thought. The Wanda comment got me. Oh, that I feel like it's quantity over quality, and
Right.
with the TV shows, I do like how the TV shows are just as epic of a production. Not just the storytelling is hit or miss depending on the episode or the series and whatnot, but I do like that it's like a longer movie that you're taking in smaller chunks versus
Right.
sitting down for 3 hours and then having to run to the bathroom after in the movie theaters in the middle of it kind of thing.
Right.
But I will say I have never fallen asleep in a movie theater ever in my entire life.
Until
Ant-Man Quantumania.
Oh, really? I haven't watched it yet. I'm so far behind.
You don't need to.
I know. It's what I keep saying. It's what I keep hearing.
It's you honestly should just watch it for the 2 post-credit scenes.
And that's all you really have to do with some of it is that I think that they put more into that to get people pumped for the next thing as opposed to so I'm with you. WandaVision was insanely good.
Oh, you overall liked it. Okay, good. I never know who I'm talking to. Sorry.
And also, I was a Wanda fan. I don't know if I'd call myself a Wanda hipster, but yeah, I mean,
you appreciate her character.
So what's really interesting is like let's think about this in the grand scheme of things. I got all of that Marvel information, all of that the awesomeness that were certain parts of phases 1, 2, and 3 in a month.
That's a lot.
Then it was the normal like timing of everything after that. So like I was super pumped for Falcon and the Winter Soldier.
Yes.
Which I thought could have been so much better if they didn't just make it a Marvel movie and then chop it up.
Right.
I feel like that's what they did because the first episode feels like it's the exact same intro as Iron Man 3.
Ooh.
And just slightly different. But I feel like they said, all right, the first episode is going to be 42 minutes long, and it's going to be this really cool part that would be normally the intro to a movie. We're going to extend it out. And then the second one is, okay, this is now technically the end of Act 1 and the beginning of Act 2, where we kind of have the lull in the real storytelling, because that episode was boring as all get out. And then it really picked up. But I'm like, okay, so they made it okay, but they didn't do it right. WandaVision, I thought they did great. Loki was out of this world good.
Loki was phenomenal. Sylvie and him, I want to see them kick butt and also fall in love.
Yeah. So I'm so excited for 2, right? For season 2, which actually isn't that far off. So pumped for that.
Can I just read one of the comments? Chris Dye said, I fall asleep in movie theaters often, but I'm always woken up with the audio most of the time.
Oh, 100%.
Especially in a Marvel movie. I think I did that on Quantumania. I'm like, oh, there's a fight. What?
They're fighting now.
Close my eyes. I'll just wake up when it's over.
Yeah, 100%. So So look, so that then you get into like Black Widow. A lot of
Oh,
people panned it. It was a great movie. Like I
I
didn't watch it in the theaters. Go ahead.
I agree. I feel like a lot of people would have appreciated more if it was set in the proper timeline or roughly the release date of all of those movies happening. I think the fact that
Right.
it was after the fact and after we know that, spoiler
Right.
alert,
Yeah.
she dies and is dead, doesn't snap back,
Mhm.
she dead.
Yeah, dead.
Um, like, that was, I think, kinda put a little damper on it, but Yelena and her comedy, spot
It's
on.
great. Yeah.
Going into the next series, Hawkeye, I love just Yelena and Kate Bishop's interaction. I
Yeah,
cared more
100%.
about that than Hawkeye itself,
Well, that
sadly.
was also kind of the point of that whole thing was to introduce Kate Bishop.
Yes,
So
yes.
so that that series was fantastic. The
Mhm.
Eternals got panned, and I thought it was great. I
I could not finish that. I
s-
could
y-
not. I got
so
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 bored.
so you have to.
Okay,
I'm just saying.
I have to. Okay.
It it's really not that bad. The issue is that a lot of people thought that Phase 4 was going to be a continuation and every movie was just going to be Infinity War and Endgame at the same time. And it's
Mm,
not. They're leading up to a new story. So
mhm.
Phase 4 got panned a lot. And a lot of the earlier stuff, I thought it was okay. Kenneth, Eternals was kind of cheesy, but it was also we have to introduce 50 characters.
Yeah, that's,
That's
I think,
the
where it
issue.
lost me. I have no, like, emotional connection or history with these characters, so
Right.
being thrown into after the most emotional
Right.
thing, it was hard. Like, maybe if, like, Doctor Strange was in it just to tie us over, I think a character that could help assist that and
Yeah,
make
I
Eternals a
agree.
little more feasible, I guess,
It
now
it
I'm just like,
it,
I'm
it would have
walking into
been
a party, I don't know anybody, you
exactly.
know?
And I think that was the biggest issue is that there were so many people that were tied to a Chris Evans or Robert
Mhm,
Downey Jr.
mhm,
or Chris Hemsworth, right? Like
mhm,
not just the character, but those people signed on
mhm,
to play those characters for an extended period of time. And when that was over, now you're starting over. The people that the characters that kind of moved forward with that, Black Widow doesn't count because she's not moving past her movie. And then it
mhm.
was Eternals. And that's it.
Yeah.
Hey, let's start over right now. And I think that was you said it best. I think that was the issue. You were going to a party to know anyone.
Mhm.
Um
Not even one person just to lean on.
it, exactly. If you really think about it and you take Doctor Strange the Multiverse of Madness and put that or Spider-Man No Way Home, right? Like either of those movies, you drop them right there. Now,
Mm,
granted, it doesn't work in the timeline that they had,
mhm.
real timeline, not multiverse timeline. It
Yes.
wouldn't have worked that time of that year,
Mhm,
but it would have been better for a fandom to go in, like you said, and see people that they know. It's
mhm,
it's it's frustrating how they've kind of gone for quantity over quality.
mhm.
Because they're always gonna get it. Like, are you watching Secret Invasion right now?
I watched one episode.
Thumbs up or thumbs down?
I'm not sold, but I'm a little curious, so I might do give it 1, maybe 2 more episodes, and then I think
2
I'm out.
2 was iffy and 3 better be good or I'm out. Like, that's just
Right.
kinda where we're at. Like, I like Sam Jackson. I think he does great as Nick Fury, and I think that
Oh, yes.
I think that this being very similar to, like, a Jason Bourne-esque or more of a actual
Oh.
thriller type show, and if you look at it through that lens, it's great. Until there's a shapeshifter and you're like, "What the."
Yeah, who is who? Who can be this, and
Yeah.
why
Yeah.
aren't they shape-shifting?
It
Like,
just
it's too much to unpack. Like,
the
you got we're not
the issue is
idiots,
that
but
there's
you need to baby it down a bit.
well, it's half that, but and you get a little more of that in episode 2. You kind of
Okay.
figure out who is and who isn't, at least from a major character standpoint.
Mhm.
But, like, my real take on this entire thing is the fact that at the end of the day, this is the easiest series to wrap up. Because all that has to happen is that person is now a shapeshifter. That's it. You've solved
Mm.
every problem because that's what happened. So it's really easy to write.
Yeah. Um, you mentioned that Secret Invasion is very much a Jason Bourne and a thriller.
Mhm.
I do like the genre, like experimenting with genres,
Yeah, I
like
agree.
how Doctor Strange Multiverse of Madness was horror. I loved that. My friend and I accidentally brought her son, who was 10, and that was a mistake, but he hid under a blanket, it was fine. But I kind of loved the gory Wanda with the
Oh,
blood
yeah.
dripping down her face. I was
Yeah.
like, all the girls are gonna go as like the cute Wanda. I'm like, I should go as like the white button up, blood dripping down her face, like
Yeah, like the Carrie
zombie-esque.
version. Yeah,
Yeah, exactly. And
exactly.
I do like them experimenting with genres and getting creative with the characters they do have. I'm
Yeah,
okay with that. But again,
yeah.
that's quality versus quantity.
Yeah,
So
but then you have Thor: Love and Thunder, which was an absolute miss. I haven't seen
oh.
Guardians 3 yet. Um,
That was good. Out
I
of
hear Yeah, go ahead.
I I really, and I won't spoil anything. It is very hard to watch, especially I don't wanna, like, spoil anything,
Don't
but, like,
spoil anything. I I
I won't. It's hard
It's an
at times, but
emotional
it's a
roller
good pay.
coaster, I get it, yeah.
Yes, yes, it is a good payoff.
Wait, it
Oh,
goes
it's a good
digital tomorrow?
Okay, you
Sweet.
watch it
Um,
tomorrow.
well,
I watched it.
I have weekend plans now.
Cool, cool. Forget Secret Invasion. We're gonna watch
Well,
Guardians 3.
look, I got other issues. I got Jack Ryan that just came out today.
Oh.
So, are you watching that at all? You a
I am
Krasinski fan?
not. I'm currently on Ted Lasso.
Yeah, I
I'm a
started
sucker
that
for
not long ago as well.
That's a feel-good show.
Ke Kenneth, you would never steer me wrong, ever. Um,
But Guardians 3, I saw it in theaters. I actually saw it in 3D on accident because that was just the time that I could go. And
right.
there was one hallway scene, and this isn't spoiling, that was so cool with the camera work and everything. It was phenomenal. But
With
again, it's on
3D?
in 3D, and I'm not
Yeah.
like I don't have to see 3D. But
It's not
Guardians
Disney
3.
Plus tomorrow, right? It's gotta pay $20 to buy it tomorrow, right? That's my assumption.
Oh,
It
I
can't be Disney Plus tomorrow. There's no way.
I hope it's just Disney Plus. We're waiting.
I doubt
guys.
it. But I mean, I'll just look, here's my thing. If I would have taken the kids to watch this movie, it would have cost me $100.
True.
So
True.
$20 to buy it, no worries. You know,
Mhm.
whatever,
Yeah.
20, 25, whatever it ends up being. But
Oh,
yeah. So
perks of being single. I only have to worry about myself.
right.
I
Yeah.
did take my grandma to see The Little Mermaid, and she
Nice,
was
Corby.
so cute seeing the live action mermaid. She was crushing on King Triton. She's like, Javier. And I'm like, Graham, okay. She
Wow.
was so funny. It was absolutely so much fun to
Yeah,
go with her. But
didn't see that. Are you a thumbs up or thumbs down for the live action remakes?
overall, thumbs
Yes.
down.
Okay.
Cinderella. I watched it the
Fan?
other week because it was just that it was so good. I think that
Mhm.
was the first and best one. The live action Little Mermaid, you can definitely see that they skimped on the CGI budget,
Really?
but Halle Bailey, not Halle Berry,
Right.
Halle Bailey, phenomenal. Every scene she's in, she's
Right.
absolutely stunning. She's an incredible singer. I see why they picked her because she does a phenomenal job. So,
Nice.
yes.
Cool.
We're getting off topic.
Yeah.
We're talking from Marvel to mermaids.
We're fine.
Oh my.
No worries. Marvel to Mermaids to Guardians live tomorrow. Oh my.
Yes. Oh my.
Yes. Yeah, I haven't seen it. Once it hits Plus, I'm sure I'll end up watching it.
Mhm.
Kind of same with Indiana Jones, right? Like I should have
Yeah.
went to the theater because I'm an Indiana Jones like nut, but just didn't, right? I remember
Yeah.
watching when I was like 6, 7, just watching it on repeat. Raiders,
I'm
100%.
I need to go watch the original ones because I'm very, very bad at that. But have you ever been in the Indiana Jones show as picked as a guest before? I feel like you would do so good.
I have not. It's unfortunate.
Crystal Skull never happened.
It didn't happen. I've never watched Crystal Skull. I
Is
never
that the
have.
one with Shia LaBeouf?
Oh yeah, never watched
Because
it.
that's the only one I've seen.
Yeah, well then if you you cannot judge the rest of the series.
Okay, well I
Based on
enjoyed
that
that
movie.
one, so I
Well-
guess the bar only goes up from here.
I mean, Sean Connery as Indiana Jones' dad is only one of the best relationships you'll ever see on the big screen. Personal opinion. They did such a good job. Yeah. So but the big thing is that like anymore, I'm just like, I'll catch it on Plus in 4 months. I don't care.
Mm-hmm.
To go
There's
see
been
it on the big screen.
Pinocchio. There's been Wendy and Peter Pan. I finished Wendy and Peter Pan. Did not care for it. Pinocchio, I honestly just watched it because my cat looks like Figaro, and then once Figaro wasn't in, I was like, I don't really care anymore.
Right.
It's sad to say.
That's funny. Yeah. Aladdin was okay. I thought they did an okay job with it. Haven't watched Lion King. I thought they did a good job with Beauty and the Beast.
You know, a fun fact: my cat loves watching the live action Lion King. I had it on during COVID, and I have multiple videos of her just staring at it.
Really?
It was so wild. I was like,
it's her Chris Evans.
Yes. But she was watching, and she even got up close to like the dresser that I had it on and was like looking behind the TV trying to see where it was so cute. I love when cats do that.
Right. So we're gonna switch complete tactics here because we
absolutely
half off the rails, but not really. So as a college program, right? Attendee. Yes,
Survivor.
No. Survivor, I guess, is actually a legit conversation to have. Yes. Right. Mm-hmm. So that experience overall, always recommend, half recommend, would do it again. What would you do differently? What would you make sure you do the same? All the fun stuff.
I will say,
what random stories do you have?
Oh, I share a lot of those on my podcast. We'll say the good and the bad, and mostly funny. There's a lot more good, but it is not just to put it down to earth with it. It is not as glamorized as people think it is. You are getting the worst shifts with the worst pay, the worst roles. Back in my day,
I don't think you can say that yet.
Well, it was 10 years ago.
That's fair.
It was 10 years ago. I think I earned it just this year, though. Just recently.
You're good. Yeah.
We got to say what roles we were interested in and which ones we were not interested, or we highly would like this role, etc. And I just found out recently that the most recent college program, ever since COVID, they just fill spots where they need to because they were that desperate to get people back.
Right. Of course.
And then cheap labor too. But overall, I will never, ever take that experience back. All the good, all the bad. I would never go back in time. Even those times I cried because we were working 70 hours a week, missing home, got what is it called? Heat exhaustion from working inside next to a big window, which I never thought.
That's crazy.
I was so worried that they were going to think that I was a bad employee and just trying to get out of work. So I tried to muscle through it. And they're like, no, honey, you're not from here. You have heat exhaustion. I'm like, okay.
No.
Yes. And they're like, go home. We'll see you tomorrow. I'm like, okay, I still have a job, right?
It's funny.
But the friends that you make and the experiences you have are absolutely irreplaceable. Like I said, my best friend at my Disney college program, I'm still friends with today. I was in her wedding. She had a baby. When I was living in California, we'd see each other every other month. And I'm very, very fortunate for that friendship and those memories and those life lessons. And I will say, before I did my college program, I was very shy. I was not comfortable with who I am. I was not confident in myself at all. Even though I did play college volleyball and I was a part of a team, I was never one to fight for my spot. I was like, oh, like if I don't start, that's fine. Where I'm like, no, I'm good. Own it. Not to be cocky or anything, but like it's confidence, not cocky. And Disney College Program, you will find your tribe because there's so many people from not only all around the US, but around the world. I have friends from New Zealand, I have friends from the UK, a lot of friends from Puerto Rico, Canada, and, I still am Facebook friends with them. I could reach out and chat with them a bit, but you meet so many different types of people, and your world just becomes so much bigger in such a good way. And when I just remember like being in high school and you're just thinking, somebody breaks up with somebody and you think it's the end of the world and how will you ever surpass this kind of thing, the
Right.
dramatic teenager kind of things.
Yep.
And Disney College Program is like, no, no, no. I have friends in the UK. I have people that I'm very close with that are in this
Right.
place, or I have my best friend in Arizona. And I think everybody should do it at least once. I think everybody, regardless whether it be Disney or not, should work in the service industry because I think you learn so much on how to treat people working in this
100%.
working in the service industry. Yes. Um, but like I said, I worked at World of Disney. It was the biggest Disney store in the world. We had the most ugliest costumes ever. My best friend
They
Sarah
were
and I,
bad back in the day.
they were
They were
so
bad.
bad, and it was high-waisted. On my 100th episode, my best friend Sarah comes back on, and we talk about how we got our belly buttons pierced during the college program. It's somewhere on, International Drive. May
That
not have been the
sounds
safest
clean.
idea. Yes, but the pants hit right where our belly buttons were, which
Oh,
is a fresh piercing, and it was wild. Go listen to that episode. We don't talk to us about, but, there was Disney, the party buses, experienced those. I mean, being a college athlete, I wasn't doing anything to risk my scholarship, so I
right.
definitely let loose a little bit, still kept
Right.
very mild, but crazy things could happen. I was on another podcast earlier, and they wanted all the spicy stuff that
Right.
happened. One of which being that when I left, my program ended in December of 2013. That following college program afterwards, they filled in the hot tubs. It's not that they just closed them. They filled them in with cement because just the most
That's
scandalous things were happening
crazy.
at Vista Way. I'll send you a video, Dave. You're gonna die.
Crazy. Crazy. Yeah, that is not shareable, allegedly. I don't know. Yeah. No, that's
Or no, the video is, a funny animator, his name's Swoozy, and he talks about Bestoway, and
oh
he
jeez.
drags it out, and so, like, that's where we lived, that's where
Yeah,
it was the cheapest place to live, and you were making diddly squat, so you didn't wanna just,
right.
all be gone to rent, so,
It's crazy.
um, good times, bad times, but just overall great memories. I would say if don't necessarily wish that you could do the Disney College Program. Honestly, if you are out of college, go for part-time if you're close by, seasonal, full-time, because you'll get a lot more benefits and care and better shifts and better pay if you go
Right.
that route, but still want to work for Disney. But I
That's
will say
crazy.
it's amazing to have on your resume for sure.
Right. That's what they always say. Worked for
Yes,
Disney in college, Disney college program, right? So
absolutely.
yeah, that's always the big sell, right? So on your
Right.
resume. All right, cool.
I
Neat.
I will say I've had a couple interviews even years later where it was stopped and they were like, "Wait, you worked for Disney?" And the interview completely stopped and they were just asking about what it was like there,
Right.
and I'm like, "I'll tell you all the tea. You gonna hire
Yeah.
me though?
Yeah, exactly.
I'll tell you everything, but
Exactly.
I would prefer to be on the clock."
Right, exactly.
Yeah.
100%. Awesome. So, on the clock as a creator,
Yeah.
so you started on the good old Instagram doing
I did. I
doing
did.
doing that. What I know you said COVID prompted the shift, but do you
Mhm.
think that you would have shifted to podcasting anyways? Or do you
Ooh.
think you would have continued down the Instagram pathway?
Ooh, that is a very good question. It's something I've actually, like, never thought of, but, mm. I feel like I would have eventually led to doing my own thing, especially even if I was just let go from the Diz for a natural reason, not
Right.
necessarily world exploding, like I keep saying. That's just my COVID's a world exploding. Um, I I think I definitely would have wanted to do more than just pictures and videos on Instagram. I think I
Mhm.
really do enjoy connecting with people. I love chatting with people, whether it be going on other people's show like yours or doing it on my show. It truly makes my heart so happy. Like I said before we started this recording, I had like the craziest day at work today. I was mentally drained, but doing stuff like this and talking about something I love in depth with somebody or a group of people makes me so happy, and it
Mhm.
like recharges my battery. So I think I eventually would have done it. Um, but COVID definitely pushed that along a lot faster, especially when we're not allowed to go. No one's allowed to go.
Right. So um so you have the podcast, and obviously that's a huge focus for you.
Mhm, mhm,
How do you manage the podcast day to day? But also, are you focusing on any specific social media? Are you focusing on
ooh,
reels to get more impressions out there? Are you
mm,
focusing on I know we talked about you started the YouTube channel. You're going to be posting more on there.
mhm,
So where do you see this thing going? You have this nice base from a podcast standpoint. A lot of people,
mhm,
whenever they get into this, right, they need to anchor themselves to something. And like you said,
absolutely.
anchoring yourself to Instagram, not saying it's easy by any means,
Mhm,
but there is that distance, I guess, that
yeah,
that, that is kind of there from a static photo, a video, without doing any lives. Obviously, you have the opportunity to do lives on Instagram. You can do the same
mhm,
thing and reach out to
yeah.
your community.
I
So
I feel like lives on YouTube, or what you're doing right now and this and the live chat, I think is so much more exciting than an Instagram live. I don't feel like people watch those as much. But yeah, sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt.
no, you're fine. Go for it. I mean, the big thing is that where do you, but besides just, I mean, I don't mean just in a negative
Just some
connotation. You have
magic?
no, yeah, exactly. You have the core of the podcast, but what are you focusing on to help grow that community that you have with that?
Absolutely. That's it. Again, I love that you ask good questions rather than what's your favorite theme park snack? And I'm like, it's popcorn. It's
We're getting
stupid, but
there.
it's popcorn. Oh, yay, yay. Once you've
Check.
fully exhausted my brain with these great questions, I'll be
Right.
like, oh, easy ones. Here we go. I'll be welcoming.
That's how we roll.
Yes. Oh no, I love it. I love it. I think uh, you know, I would love, love, love to make my podcast my full-time job. I would love to do it um later on in life when I get married and have kids and then all that stuff, and then be like, "Hey, we're gonna go with mom to work," and we go to the theme park kind of thing, kind of like what you do with your kids, you know?
Right.
You're like, "Hey, we're working, but we're also having a wonderful time." And that is the true goal. It is hard juggling a real job that makes money right now versus something that could potentially make money, and it's never to be rich and famous. That's never, never, never my
Right.
goal, whether it be Instagram, YouTube. I just want to be able to have the livelihood to be able to connect with people as a full-time job and share
Right.
people's stories, and I would always love to do more. And you actually, when we were done on my episode or your episode on my show, you gave me some great advice on YouTube. Yeah, I know. I'm like, whose show are we on? What day is it?
Doing the
And
math.
yeah, and you gave me some amazing advice on how to grow on YouTube, and I would love to do that more. I will say, again, I am a one woman show, so it is a struggle to get one episode out every week plus cover art plus this, and I know I could be doing so much more that I would love to do. So I think YouTube would be my next thing because I'm a visual person and I
Right.
love seeing the people that I'm connecting
Mhm.
with, and I think, but I will say for my YouTube, I put the episodes, like, so say I have the episode 110 come out this upcoming week, I won't put it on YouTube till a few days later. So if you're really craving itching for an episode, listen to it on the podcast first,
Right.
and then if you wanna see the person, so
Well, the interesting thing about YouTube is obviously they have the podcast feed now.
Yes, that's new. I love
It
it.
yeah, which is pretty solid. Actually, this will be the first one on that. It works as a playlist, but it ends up being your
Yeah.
podcast. And I haven't done a ton of research on how it gets pushed out differently, but
Mhm.
there has to be some semblance of a component. They realize that they have to compete in that space. So if you look at
Mhm.
what YouTube wants to do, they want to be a spot where people are creating podcasts and then putting it out. So who knows what's coming down the pike? I mean, we talked a little bit about my experience with Twitch over COVID,
Mhm.
and the significant differences. I mean, I was already live on YouTube for 2+ years before going into Twitch. So that transfer was great, but you look at what Twitch has done with their platform and what YouTube is attempting to do, right? Like if you look,
Mhm.
you can go and take a clip of a video, and that's a direct ripoff of what Twitch will do. You can click on a button, it'll
Oh.
automatically clip it for 30 seconds on your yeah.
Oh.
So a lot of that, and you're going to see YouTube move towards that, and a lot of it's coming out of the gaming space because they want to take market share from that.
Yeah,
Um,
absolutely.
but you also look at the fact that they look at what podcasting has done. Look at
Mhm.
uh, look at what Rogan's done. Most popular podcast in the
Mhm.
country, in the world probably,
Mhm.
um, and literally it started as him and his comedian buddies sitting around a table BSing. That's it.
Mhm.
And
Mhm.
he just hit 2,000 episodes. That's a lot.
Whoa, I couldn't
Yeah,
I just hit 200. I couldn't even fathom 2,000. I'm like,
right? It's
that's a lot of
it's
work up.
it's insane, but it's become his gig. Now he's been in a position where that has never been his focus until it
Mhm.
was his focus with stand-up comedy and UFC, right? Like he
Mhm.
has that background. But the thing is that then you have other people talking like Gary Vee about go
Mhm.
start a podcast, go start a podcast, go start a
Yes.
podcast. So people are jumping into the space. So it only makes sense that YouTube is going to do the same thing, right? So you
Mhm.
think through that. But here's the big thing, and this is where if you tweak your thinking just slightly, the the ability to utilize YouTube as one social media, right? With shorts, you have the capacity to put out full-length videos, and you have the capacity to run a community page, have
Mhm.
memberships once you hit certain thresholds, and then also the community tab, right? So you can
Mhm.
communicate in every facet, whether you are a great writer or you know how to use ChatGPT well, whether
Mhm.
you are a good long form video creator, whether you're a good short form video creator, whether you can talk well and you're a podcaster. All of those things can be done on YouTube.
Mhm. And isn't
It,
it the second highest
I
search
was
engine too?
just going to say that.
Oh, how did I
You're exactly right. That's the second half of this is
Mhm.
that it's Google. It's just YouTube Google.
Absolutely.
It,
And
it,
I
it
think
is
one of the hardest things about
searchable.
podcasts is to find a search through podcasts. Like you can go into Spotify or Apple Podcasts and have Disney Podcasts, and you might get some decent
Right.
results, but it may not be the best podcast or the
Yeah.
most listened to.
The,
So,
there's not a good search function on either Apple or Spotify when it comes to that.
mhm,
And and you know this, we talked about where you're at with total listens and all that, and I'm not going to share if you don't
mhm,
want to, but you look at where that is, and that is all created not from anything organically on Spotify or Apple, whatever. That is created through the likes of Instagram and
mhm,
TikTok, and then driving back to it. And
mhm.
more so than as much as I do, that it is super tough to have anyone go off of the platform that they're on and go on to a
Yep,
platform that you want them to. So
absolutely.
utilizing YouTube in that capacity is
Mhm.
is super.
And
So,
the perks of listening to a podcast on YouTube is, you can put it on your TV or have it in your ear with your phone. You can do chores and do other things or go on a walk, and like you can still look
right,
at it if, we're referencing something and we pop up a picture, but it's still listenable. You don't
right.
have to give your full attention the entire time. Even
Mhm.
us talking right now, you could be folding laundry or something. I don't know.
100%.
You don't have to
100%.
necessarily look at us unless our goofy faces.
Yeah, it's really interesting how, the last 4 years has all been focused on short form content, which I'm a big fan of. I'm actually better at telling jokes in short form than, the
You
long
are. You
form
really
rants
are.
that I mean, I really enjoy short form. I think it's super fun. But there's also something like you just said to and it's the reason I listen to podcasts all the time. I got other stuff to do. If I'm going to go on a walk or if I'm on the treadmill, there's things I want to like. I might listen to music if I have to, or if I want to stay at a specific pace. Right? We all do that when you run or do
Same.
whatever.
But road trips,
Yep,
podcasts are lifesavers, especially
100%.
from you who's driving all the way down to Florida or something like that.
Yeah, I all I listen to is podcasts in the vehicle. It's podcasts or audiobooks, and it's one or the other.
Yes.
So, but for sure.
Absolutely.
So it's been 90 minutes.
Whoa, time flies, truly flies when you're having fun. I think the first hour just flew by for sure.
Right.
Oh my gosh.
I agree wholeheartedly. So if you will indulge the fact that at the end of every single podcast, we do a lightning round Disney question.
And you gave me a teaser of what it could be.
I did.
I'm slightly nervous.
No need.
I told you I'm brain dead after work today.
You're fine, because all this does is lead to another 30 minutes of conversation. So
wonderful.
I'm kidding.
Wonderful.
No, we can make it whatever it needs to be. So, favorite Disney World park?
World Park. Hollywood Studios.
Favorite ride in that park?
That's so hard.
Well, then give me two.
Sorry?
Give me two. Give me whatever your tiebreakers are.
Well, I'll explain why, because I love Hollywood Studios because I love good shows and I love fast rides. So I would say almost Rock and Roller Coaster and the Beauty and the Beast show, or Fantasmic. Because I will count those as attractions. Is that allowed?
Yeah, that's fine. Unpopular opinion, I have not watched Fantasmic. Ever.
I'm done. I'm gone.
Yeah, well.
I'm done.
I can't. Hey, thanks for being here. Appreciate it. Check out Morgan. We're going to go.
I'm almost more upset about that than the not liking Disneyland thing. And Disneyland's Fantasmic is significantly better. I know the dragon just blew up earlier this year, but
that's what I hear. Yeah. No, it's not for any other reason than we just haven't done it. It's odd. It was really funny. Like a couple trips ago, I think it was 2019. Like we walked in and there were people. We had seats, and we're just like, yeah, we're not going to. We went in to see people that we knew that were at the park to say goodbye because we were leaving the next day, and we're like, our flight's early. We're out.
It's a really. Okay, my justification for Fantasmic, it's not just a stage show. It's not just fireworks. It's not just water projections. It's stunts and this. It's everything just into one. And it's amazing. And Mickey
100%.
And the princesses and the update with Frozen characters and Mulan and so good. So good.
Favorite restaurant, favorite table service restaurant at Walt Disney World?
Okay, I will say this with the disclaimer. I am a poor college-esque age, not college age anymore. I like to think student. So I don't go to the fancy restaurants too often. But I think when I was working for the Diz, I think my favorite food area, oh my gosh, what was the name? I will say the most memorable food was the chocolate bar not souffle thing, but at the Grand Destino Tower on the top, restaurant on top with the changing colors, and it was so beautiful. I think that was
Toledo, the Snickers bar.
Yes.
Yeah, I was banging. Super good.
That was my favorite.
So Toledo's is it. All right. What's your?
I want Same.
Yeah, Toledo's is solid. It's super good.
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't get a lot of love anymore. It kind of, because it came out in 2019, and then it didn't have a chance. It didn't. We stayed there in 2019, and then it didn't have a chance to grow that fandom, and it was gone. And then it took a hot minute for it to come back. So it doesn't surprise me that it's one of those.
I haven't got the people hooked yet.
It did that in Dahlia Bar. To be honest, Destino,
Yes.
Grand Destino Tower is
Gorgeous,
completely overlooked as a place to go. Not stay. I mean, it's great to stay at. It's a little overpriced for what it is, but you can get deluxe quality at a moderate price. You know, $330 a night. If you get it on, if you get it 20% off, it's not terrible. We got a deal. It was $169 a night when it first opened. We were there 2 weeks after it opened. Yeah, it was insane. It was it still smelled like paint. It was crazy.
It was so fresh.
It was. And Dahlia's fantastic. And then you go downstairs to Barcelona, which is super good too.
The decor there is so gorgeous too.
It is. It's like Vegas with a Mickey twist.
Yes. Oh my gosh.
Yes.
Love it.
So favorite lounge to attend?
I'm gonna say Trader Sam's.
Okay.
At Disneyland.
Land. I will give you that. Trader Sam's at Land. I spent more time there during D23 Expo than D23. That's probably not a lie. If Shep is still in the chat, he will tell you the same thing. We were there 2 of the 4 nights we were there. And probably would have been 3 if we didn't go out to speakeasies the other nights. Yeah. So favorite drink at Trader Sam's?
Can I say favorite drink overall, because it's at a different location?
Yeah, it's fine. Favorite drink overall.
Okay. I keep switching your questions.
No, listen, these are not set in stone. Trust me.
Okay. Some people are like hard and fast rules, and I'm like, but I don't drink that often. I had my 21st birthday at Epcot during my college program. It was a wonderful experience. Ever since then, I'm like, this isn't fun anymore, but as fun when you're of age. But my favorite drink overall of all of Disneyland Resort is the Moonshine Sour at the America Pavilion next to the Regal Eagle.
Yes.
It tastes like a Starburst. It is so good. Is that the Scooby-Doo dog?
It is. Here you go.
Oh my gosh. Hello, doggy.
Hey, puppy.
What's your dog's name again?
His name is Winston.
Winston.
Hi, buddy.
So
yes, I see it. Yes, I get you. Thank you for being here. Appreciate it.
Thank you for being at the Polynesian.
Yeah, thank you for being at the Polynesian. It is not a dog-friendly resort. So whiskey sour or moonshine sour, have not had it yet. Because it dropped afterwards. I'm pretty sure.
Yes, or like right before COVID.
Yeah, it was
right. All those ones that happened right before COVID.
Yes. Favorite World Showcase Pavilion.
That is so tough.
Mm-hmm.
Oh my gosh. Okay, I want to say France, and this is even before Ratatouille. I just have very fond memories of going to the France Pavilion during my Disney College program, and I was till the very end of the program. My birthday's in December. Very end of the program, all my friends were of age, and I wasn't, and so they would sneak in water bottles of cupcake vodka, and we would go to the France Pavilion, get a big thing of ice cream, drizzle the cupcake vodka over it, and then I'll just eat it. And we got real tipsy off of some ice cream. So
there you go. Well, it's like getting the gelato martini that you can actually get. But yes.
I guess we inspired it. I don't know how long ago.
Yeah, the hey, this is my water bottle trick. Yeah.
Yes. Hey, oh,
Winston,
so good.
Stop. That is not for you to chew on.
We are on live, sir.
We're on live, sir. Yeah.
Scooby-Doo wouldn't act this way.
He wouldn't. So France Pavilion. All right. Hold on one second.
Okay.
Sorry. Love you, buddy. the little dude came to the rescue and to get all of the things that
Oh,
Winston was illegally chewing on. He's
thanks,
7. He
little
shouldn't be doing
dude.
this. Thanks, buddy.
Makes me think of
Um,
like a crush and squirt. Like, you got it, dude. Yeah, chubby
yeah,
man.
100%. 100%. Okay. Um, favorite resort to stay at?
Oh, if I had the money, the Riviera Resort, because it opened the day after my birthday. Mind you, not in the same year, obviously, because it came out in 2019. But
Right.
I love the European, French
Yeah.
inspired look and the elements. I did get to stay there once because of the Diz, which I'm very, very thankful for.
Right.
And I would love my house to look like that. Like, it's
Right.
just subtle enough Disney and gorgeous, regal. I just love it.
Right.
And the smell there is wonderful. And you're next to the Skyliner.
It,
Come on.
100%. I'm a fan. Have not stayed there yet. Have explored it. So
Mhm.
it's really solid.
Yes.
Um,
So good.
yacht club guy myself, to be honest.
Oh,
If
very
I'm
nice.
if I'm dropping the coin,
Might
yacht
as
club
well.
over Grand Flow over Poly. As much as I
Yeah.
love both,
Mhm.
um, but yeah, yacht club. We've had actually in 2014 we were at the yacht club that year for all the Frozen stuff. Whenever they had the Frozen fireworks at Hollywood Studios,
Oh,
we'd be able to see
yes.
that right after Illuminations.
Perfect. You can just turn
Yeah,
your head this
yeah,
way, that way.
which
Good spot to be. Look at you.
it was solid. Nothing like watching those from Storm Along Bay. So
Gorgeous.
yes. All right. Favorite character.
Sleeping Beauty.
Favorite face character to meet.
Sleeping Beauty in Disneyland.
Okay.
I have a friend.
Yeah, that is friends with them. Yes.
We became friends because she remembered me 3 months
Hmm.
after me meeting her. She goes, "You're Morgan, right?" And she was my favorite to go meet because she looked and acted just like her.
It was
And I'm like, "That's
perfect.
the real Sleeping Beauty." I don't want all my cast member friends that are friends with characters. I don't want to know her name. I don't. And
Right.
then
Right.
she's the real one. She's the
Mhm.
real Sleeping Beauty.
Exactly.
But she remembered me, and we eventually did become friends. And so now every time I'm in town, I go visit her and visit her in February, and I surprised her, and we keep in touch. She's a wonderful human, and I messaged her the first thing when we got connected. I said,
That's awesome.
You do not know how much magic you've made for me. So
That's
thank
awesome. That's
you."
fantastic.
Mhm.
Um, that's fantastic. And again, that's the thing about going and seeing characters. Like that's it. Um,
Absolutely.
yes. Okay. So we got that. Favorite snack that isn't popcorn.
Okay, so I'm gonna mess with your question again.
Yeah, you're fine.
My favorite snack situation is, yes, with popcorn, but also at the same time a Minute Maid lemonade frozen cup. So you got the salty, you got the sweet, while sitting on the side waiting for the parade to come.
Right.
Perfect. That's my happy place
That
right there.
is crazy. That is the most theme park that is the most generic theme park answer you could ever have.
It is not
Well,
generic. Everybody
think
says
about it.
Mickey bar.
No, you're exactly right. I get it. It's up there though.
Mine
Because
is very specific.
it is very specific. But it's like, okay, I'm gonna go to the cart that's closest to me and it has popcorn in that, and I'm buying both. And I don't mean that in a negative way.
Touche, touche. I will
I'm
get
just
that. It's
I'm just
typically a
like, yeah.
one-stop shop.
Look, normally you have people who are Disney nerds answering this question, and they're like, "Well, I like the hibiscus from the Flarbity Blarb," and it's whatever the
Flirty.
newest one is, right?
Yes, yes. I'm like, "No, no, no. Consistent
Yeah,
across the board,
and
specifically waiting for the
I,
parade."
I respect that
Thank you. Thank
a
you.
lot.
And more specifically, the dollar refills. Well, back in my day, it was a
Well,
dollar
it's
refill.
$2
Now
now,
it's
but yeah,
$2 now.
yeah. Look, it's great, and honestly, if you can eat that much popcorn, it's worth it to get a popcorn bucket if you're going to be there for a week, right? If you're cool with carrying it and doing whatever, that's awesome. Has the popcorn bucket craze gotten out of control?
In the US, yes.
Okay.
In the international parks at Tokyo, I have a Dumbo flying popcorn. Their quality and design and durability of their popcorn buckets over there are absolutely phenomenal. I have a Dumbo one. It's right over there. I could go get it, but I don't feel like getting up right now.
Right.
But I got it in 2019 when I went. It's durable. The ears move, the lid opens. It's so well done and so well made. And they've had the Tangle lantern that actually lights up like a Beauty and the
Right.
Beast stained glass
It's
popcorn bucket.
crazy. Yeah.
They get so creative over there. And
Hmm.
so yes, for the answer, US, yes, the popcorn buckets are not as up to par as the international ones, but the craze has gone a little crazy over here.
Right.
Tokyo, it's perfectly fine.
Sweet. Love that. All right. Favorite festival at Epcot?
Ooh, Festival of the Arts, because I could, if someone gave me a gift card, I would probably buy something from every single
Right. Yeah.
artist. I've actually interviewed a couple artists like Ashley Taylor and oh my gosh, what is his name? John Coulter, who
Hmm.
used to be friends with Tarzan and be in the Tarzan Rock show back in the day,
Oh,
and then turned
wow.
into a Disney artist.
Yeah, that's awesome.
So that was a phenomenal interview as well. Again, it's hard to pick a favorite episode.
Right. No, it's great. That's
um,
awesome.
but I loved artists. I love all the creativity in that. Yeah, Festival of the Arts, hands down, no
That's
hesitation.
fantastic. Favorite snack from your favorite festival?
Oh, from my favorite festival. Wait, was Violet Lemonade? That's Flower and Garden,
That's Flower and
isn't it?
Garden, but you can say that. That's fine. I'll
Okay,
I'll 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 allow it. Everyone loves it.
I I had it for the first time this year, and I'm like,
Really
I have been missing out on this the whole
the
time.
entire time. Yep.
I
Yeah.
was like, my background almost looks like
It
the color of
does.
Violet Lemonade now that we
It
say.
does. 100%. 100%. Yeah, no, it's the girls, so Brandy and Gianna, they ended up going for my daughter's 12th birthday.
Oh,
So they did Flower and Garden. I have not done Flower and Garden yet. So next year is Dawson's. So it's father son trip
oh.
next summer. So we shall see. I don't know how much flower and garden time we're gonna spend, but
Because that's what boys want to see.
hey,
Flowers.
there's food and there's gardens, and we'll
There's
figure it out.
garden.
But
Yes.
but yes. So
Too bad he's not old enough to DD. Oh, you do the minivans.
yeah. Well,
I remember you
yeah.
saying that.
Minivans for sure. For sure. Okay. So
Give me a tough one. Come on, I'm ready for it. I ask the questions all day. I like these questions.
I know. I'm trying to think. There's really not a lot of tough ones. Like, I mean, it on property or off property
Oh,
when you go down.
oh, at Disney World?
Yeah.
On property, but probably an All-Stars.
Right. Well,
'Cause we're
nothing
not
wrong with that
spending
now. They're
yeah.
$1,000 a night anyways, either way.
Yes. And we're not
So,
spending like, I'm only going to my hotel to eat and or mostly just to sleep and wash
right.
myself and get ready. I'm not
Right.
spending ample amount of time in there or maybe taking a midday nap, if anything.
Right.
Other than that.
Yeah, it's completely changed. I mean, that's how it was early on with the little ones. I mean, obviously we wanted a
Mhm.
room, but now it's like the majority of time, like the amount of time that we actually spend in our resort is significantly more than we used to. It's a different speed at this point. I mean, kids
Gotcha.
like to run, but we're summer people, so
It burns you out.
well, it does. And if you don't go back in the afternoon, you're done for the evening. Like
Mhm.
our biggest tip is we'll do Magic Kingdom and we don't eat at Magic Kingdom. We'll do everything. And then lunch is Kona or Steakhouse 71 or Grand Cali or California, not California Grill.
Is it California Grill?
No, that's it. But I'm not that they're not open for lunch. What's the Grand Floridian Cafe, whatever it is. Yeah.
Oh, Contempo.
No.
Is that it?
No,
No,
at
that's
Grand
the
Flow.
Contemporary. Duh.
Yeah. Yeah. No. So any rate, we usually hit that and then we just monorail jump around and we end up at the Grand Flow and just hang out in the lobby for 3 hours and just cool off and
Listen,
do whatever, and then we figure it
listen to
out
the
from there.
piano, smell all the smells.
Yep,
It's
100%.
gorgeous there. So good.
Yep, 100%. So from a Marvel capacity, you have not been to France, right? So you can't
No.
say which Marvel land is better, correct?
Correct. My plan is to go hopefully soon. I have been learning French for 561 days, so
There
I
you
can
go.
go and don't no one try to talk to me in French yet. I'm not quite there yet,
Right.
but I would like to go and understand what's going on. My big bucket list goal is to be able to speak fluently every single language a Disney park is in. Because when I went to Japan, the people were absolutely incredible. And
Right.
it just made me wanted to communicate with them. They were so kind, the culture is so phenomenal, and they're just so welcoming. But yeah.
I would like to do I'd like to do the Asian parks. I keep hearing fantastic things, but it'll
Yep.
probably be Paris first.
Yes.
But so I always end on this.
Okay.
If you have obviously a ton of experiences at Disney. If you could relive one of those experiences over, what would it be and why?
Oh, I don't know why I'm like getting emotional thinking about this.
Everyone cries during this, so you're fine.
You really do save the um I kind of hope my dad never sees this, but my dad and I'm his only daughter. I have two other brothers. We are not very close. We're very, very different. Like I'm more creative brain and he was in the military kind of thing.
Mhm.
And so we've butted heads my
Right.
whole life. Oh. Gosh, Dave, why you gotta do
My bad.
this?
My bad.
But and he enjoys Disney. He has liked Disney as long as me, if not longer, because he's been going with his family. And I know Harmonious is such the most atrocious, ugliest barges
Right.
that they had. But my parents actually came down to visit me in Florida this past December for my birthday, or it was a week before my birthday, my actual birthday, and it was my 30th birthday. And my mom was there as well, but oh my gosh. Dave, I'm almost mad at you.
That's fine. That's why I'm here.
But we just watched the fireworks and the Harmony show together. And I would love to relive that because we still aren't as close as I would like us to be. But that moment was just like anything bad that ever happened between us or any butting heads over all those years just went away. And it was such a magical moment for me. And I've never talked about it. So you're the God exclusive. And you're making me cry.
Well.
But watching Harmonious and I'm sad to see it gone. But that was like the one and only time I ever did see it. So it's kind of like that's just reserved for that one memory with my dad. So and it was a good memory.
And that's fantastic. As a father of a daughter, I get it. I get it. So
girls are hard. Girls are hard. I can.
They are.
Oh.
So are dads. So
I can imagine it being hard to father a daughter, because girls are different, and then dads are doing their own thing. Especially how different personalities my dad and I are. So
yeah, it's there's there's always those moments, right? Like, I mean, and it's the reason I asked the question is because it's always something that you can't necessarily go back and do, but you always have that memory. So appreciate you sharing. I know
yeah. Whew, you guys save for a good one.
Because
I do cry on my show. There are some stories that really get me, and I'm like, as a host, I'm trying to keep it together, and I'm like, I can't. I gotta let the feels let them free. Oh my gosh.
I love it. Listen,
Thank
Morgan,
you.
thank you. This was an absolute blast.
Oh, it so was.
Make sure you check out the Just Some Magic podcast. Kenneth will drop some links. All the things. Morgan Stark __ for the OG Instagram, and then obviously the Just Some Magic podcast IG. Check it out on wherever you can download your favorite podcast, and this will end up becoming one of those.
Oh.
Morgan, anything else you want to say?
Yes, I have one more thing.
Go for it.
Anybody listening, obviously you guys are huge theme park fans. I am constantly looking for more stories, and this is how I got Dave. I made a shout out on another show I was on, and then I met Dave, and now we're here, and I'm just, again, meeting so many amazing people. So again, reach out to me on Just Some Magic on Instagram. That is the fastest way to get a hold of me, and I would love to have anybody come on the show and share your most magical moment. But Dave, seriously, thank you so much. Like, I feel like I truly made a new friend, and I hope to run into you and your family in the park soon, hopefully.
100% cool. I'm gonna end this. We'll talk in a minute. All right.
Right.
Love you all. Thank you for being here.
Bye.